All right, welcome everyone to Crafting Made Simple. So you finally nailed putting HTV on a t-shirt right. You're like, okay, I got this.
Yeah.
Feeling pretty good. But then what's next?
You hit that point, don't you? I mean, it's a great feeling to master a skill, but it also kind of opens up this whole new set of questions.
Totally. And that's exactly what we're tackling today. It's like,
Ah!
okay, I can do a t-shirt, but what else can I make with this thing?
Exactly. And luckily for us, there's a fantastic resource from Paperflow Designs that we're going to dig into today that's packed with over 100 ideas. Yeah, you heard that right. Over 100 ideas to kind of spark that creativity. Get those wheels turning.
It is a massive list, and honestly,
Yeah.
it's super inspiring. So if you're following along at home and you want to see visuals, some of these ideas are pretty unique, or you just want like a handy checklist of all the things you might need to grab, there's a link in the podcast notes. You can also head straight over to paperflowdesigns.com.
It's like a treasure trove of ideas over there.
Oh, for sure. Okay, so before we really get lost in this list,
Yeah.
and trust me, we could spend hours talking about all of these lists.
Yeah, oh, yeah.
We want to make sure everyone's in the loop with the Crafting Made Simple newsletter because we share even more tips and tricks and project inspiration over there. Totally free, and you can sign up using the link in the description. It's https://birdsend.pageforms981bozlr. Yes. So go ahead and do that now if you have it already.
Can never have too much inspiration, right?
Never. Okay, back to this amazing list.
Hmm.
So it covers everything from simple projects, kind of like the next step after that t-shirt, to things I never would have even thought of. Like, seriously, some of these are mind-blowing.
Yeah, it really does cover the whole spectrum. And I think that's what makes it so valuable. It meets you wherever you are in your crafting journey.
100%. So let's start with some of the more maybe like beginner-friendly blanks after you've mastered that t-shirt. Things like wine tote bags, aprons, makeup bags, pencil cases. What makes these a good place to start?
Well, I think these are great because they kind of use the same skills you developed while working with t-shirts. You're already familiar with heat transfer vinyl, or HTV, as most crafters call it.
Right, HTV.
And these blanks, they often have a pretty flat surface area, which just makes the application a little bit easier, especially when you're just starting out. Plus, they're generally pretty forgiving fabrics.
Forgiving. What does that mean exactly?
Well, like, some fabrics are really sensitive to heat. They can scorch or warp easily if you're not careful. But the fabrics typically used for things like tote bags or aprons, cotton and canvas blends, they tend to hold up better to the heat pressing process.
Okay, that makes sense. So it's less about messing up the design itself and more about potentially damaging the fabric if you're not super precise with the heat.
Right. But of course, you always want to do a test on a scrap piece of fabric first, just be sure. Every heat press is a little different, and every fabric reacts a little differently.
Definitely. Always test first. It saved me from ruining so many projects. Okay, so HTV for those fabrics. But what if I want to personalize something a little more delicate? Something that wouldn't hold up to the heat.
That's where adhesive vinyl comes in. It's like a super high-quality sticker, basically.
Oh, like vinyl you might use for labels or decals.
Exactly. And it opens up a whole new world of possibilities because you don't need any heat to apply it. So think leggings, for example, with all that stretch. Or maybe a leather belt, something a bit more textured.
A skateboard even, which is on this list,
Yeah.
and that would definitely not do well with a heat press.
Exactly. So adhesive vinyl is a great option when heat is out of the question. Plus, it comes in all sorts of finishes: matte, glossy, glitter, even pattern. So lots of room to get creative there.
Cool. So we've got HTV for those sturdy fabrics
Yeah.
and adhesive for the more delicate or heat-sensitive stuff. And the list just goes on and on from there. I mean, we've got wedding cake toppers, banners, balloons.
Even leather bracelets and baby headbands.
Yeah, the baby headbands. Like, who knew you could personalize those?
Yeah.
It really makes you think about all those little touches you can add to events and accessories.
I love that about this list. It really sparks that creative thinking. And it's not just about the specific items, it's about the possibilities they represent. Like, once you can personalize a baby headband, you start thinking, well, what else could I do with that technique?
Right. It's like a whole new world opens up.
Uh-huh.
And speaking of opening up possibilities, the list also includes some more out there items like
Oh.
charger plates, a margarita pitcher.
Hmm.
Have you ever tried something like that?
Oh, yeah, definitely. Working with curved surfaces like a pitcher can be a little tricky, just because you have to be careful about wrinkles and bubbles. But the Paperflow Designs post actually has a link to a tutorial specifically for applying vinyl to a margarita pitcher.
No way. That's awesome.
It is, and I think that's one of the most valuable things about this resource. They don't just give you the idea, they often link to tutorials and resources to help you actually make it happen.
So helpful. Okay, moving right along, we've got flower vases, jewelry boxes, uniforms, pageant sashes even, dog shirts. I mean, this is incredible. Talk about unique and personalized gifts.
Right, like imagine a dog shirt with their name on it or a little message. It's so cute. And the pageant sash, I mean, that's such a special keepsake.
Absolutely. And it's things you wouldn't normally find personalized.
Yeah.
It's not like you can just walk into a store and buy those things off the rack.
Yeah,
So it really adds that extra special touch.
totally. And it kind of brings us back to why we love crafting in the first place, right? It's about creating something unique, something that reflects your personality or the personality of the person you're giving it to.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
Ow.
Okay, there's still so much more to cover. Sunglasses, headsets, hair bows, earrings, even baby bottles.
Yeah, and that's where things start to get really interesting, I think, because it shows how technology has kind of opened up a whole new world for crafters, you know?
What do you mean?
Well, think about it. To personalize something like a baby bottle or a pair of earrings, you need really precise cuts, right? That's where cutting machines like Cricut and Silhouette come in. They allow you to create those intricate designs that would have been almost impossible to do by hand.
Okay, that makes sense. So the technology has kind of caught up with our desire to personalize absolutely everything.
Pretty much. And the list keeps going from there. Tea towels, beach bags, swimsuits, mason jars, wooden keychains, mugs, pillows, baseball caps.
Sounds overwhelming.
It is, but in a good way, I think, because it just shows you how many options you have. And that's really what this whole deep dive is about, right?
Yeah.
Showing you that you're not limited to just t-shirts.
Exactly. And just when you think the list can't get any longer, we've got yoga mats, koozies, phone cases, wooden hangers, even travel-size shampoo bottles. It's like nothing is safe from our personalization frenzy.
And why should it be? I mean, think about it. You use these things every day. Why not make them a little more special? A little more you?
I love that. And the grand finale. Crock pots, coolers, and a basketball.
Hmm.
There's a video tutorial for the basketball, by the way, in case you're wondering how on earth you'd even go about doing that.
Yeah, the basketball is a great example because it really pushes the boundaries of what we think of as customizable. It's like if you can put HTV on a basketball, you can put it on anything.
Right. And that's such an important message to take away from this. Don't limit yourself. Don't be afraid to experiment.
Exactly. And Paperflow designs, they don't just leave you hanging with all these ideas. They also encourage you to take it a step further. Once you've got the hang of working with different materials and different types of vinyl, they suggest trying your hand at designing your own creations.
So like not just using pre-made designs, but actually creating your own from scratch.
Exactly. Which is so cool because then your projects become truly unique. Nobody else in the world will have anything quite like it.
That is so cool. And I bet once you start designing your own stuff, the ideas just flow even more freely.
Oh, absolutely. And who knows, maybe you'll even turn your crafting hobby into a little side hustle. The article mentions that too, which I thought was a nice touch.
I love that they included that. It's such a great reminder that crafting can be more than just a hobby. It can be a creative outlet, a stress reliever, a way to connect with other people, and even a way to make some extra money.
Absolutely. Okay, I think we've officially made it through the entire list.
Phew, that was a lot. Hopefully we've given everyone plenty of inspiration for their next project. Remember, you can find a link to all 117 ideas, as well as info on where to find supplies in the podcast notes or on the Paperflow Designs blog at paperflowdesigns.com.
Seriously, go check it out. It's such a great resource. And I hope everyone listening feels empowered to try something new, something maybe a little outside their comfort zone.
Yes. Don't be afraid to experiment. And don't forget to share your creations with us. Tag us on social media. We'd love to see what you come up with.
Oh, absolutely. We love seeing everyone's creativity. And hey, before you go, if you want even more inspiration, be sure to sign up for the Crafting Made Simple newsletter. The link is in the description.
Yeah, we've got you covered with all sorts of tips, tricks, and project ideas over there.
So now think about it. What everyday objects around you are just begging for a little bit of personalization? What unique gifts could you create for the people in your life?
Great question. We can't wait to see what amazing things you make. Thanks for joining us today on Crafting Made Simple.